All I want for Christmas is one of these contraptions. You press the button after getting a piece of nice stock like this, smoothing it out old-fashioned way on the floor. In case when you get it home, it doesn't look real pristine like this. You take this out, like a Polaroid. See, you put this in a big, giant Rubik's Cube, like this big for a kid. Maybe this is the size of your hand, so it's the size of the toy the kid has, and it's customized to the size. The Rubik's Cube is customized to the size of the hand of the kid. So if I had a Rubik's Cube that was loaded with these things, I could load up like 5, 10, whatever discs, just aluminum. This came off of right here. That's Surmark. This came off of Nestle Nido Fortificado. The cap. This right here. It's been through a little bit, and I straightened it out with this off-the-shelf parts. Anyway, this you don't need. This is a record. It scores real easily, but roughly, inside of the thing. When the kid pushes, or an adult, they solve a certain side or something, boom, it keeps track. Like a Morse code or whatever. Or even Braille. Yeah, see? This grid work here? This is what I originally had an idea of. That this surface here, being a circle, how do you fit a man or a woman's body into a square and a circle at the same time? Go. First, you lay down on the floor, make a perfect square, put your arms up, and say, hey, draw a circle around me. Okay, that's how fast. An ancient riddle couldn't be solved until the master sat down and said, here, this is how you do it. This is Braille, and one of those machines with the nails, you put your hand in, and on the other side you see the nail hand version. Well, if each one of those little nails were wrapped with copper, and then they sit inside of a sleeve of copper, like say in a cigarette tube or a plastic stabilizer in a blunt wrap or something like that. You got the solenoid going up and down. You got the thing it wraps going up steady, making the thing go up and down. And put. It keeps it mechanical, very, very mechanical. No electricity, just shake it, bake it. Mechanical record from when you put the thing in. Every little jar, every little nick, as the mechanism begins to wear down. What is it, like an ENIAC? What if the lady, okay, this is Jeanette Winslow. She actually worked, my kid's great-grandmother, she's dead. I saw the mortem. It's Lisa Winslow, my kid's mother's mother. Anyway, she taught me about the hanging chad from the ENIAC. And I theorized, okay, so what if she was a smoker, which she wasn't? What if some of the women that all worked on the one of 3 Wisconsin's ENIACs, what if they were constantly outside eating apples or some shit, or knitting or whatever, or baking pierogies for their mine husbands? What if they were out doing this? Or they were just moonshining some potatoes that were left on the ground. They were rotten. And of course then, maybe they got altered states because they ate the spores of the mold that grows on bread. Sometimes you make liquor out of it, and you don't quite boil the water in some batches, and you mix it together. Then you got hallucinogenic origins of vampires and werewolves, Nosferatu from Vlad the Impaler, and you also got Mary Shelley, who gets stoned one night among rich ass people, and she spins a tale about Frankenstein because she's in the zone. I heard about that. You let everything go and you're just there. So anyway, you're pitting this thing. Any idiot can take it out and play it, read it, take a picture of it. So long you take a picture of it, like I'm taking a picture of this. All these little pits, this grid. Let me flip it over. That side looks better. Let me cock it. That's basic geometry. 4 angles. It's a grid. ICs, integrated circuits, are also printed this way on plastic. What if you printed them, integrated circuits? This is all proprietary information. Marking 666. I mean 616. See how funny that is? Brain program. Theological debate later. Okay. So you have this thing. What if the integrated circuits, this is a binary integrated circuit, but it's fresh. It's like a piece of plastic or glass. What if you put them on glass or plexiglass? Then you have layers and layers and layers. What are you going to do? You're going to drill into it. So you connect every single circuit board, however small you want to get the drill. You can electron tunnel through a gold-plated, well, you would pit the gold. Then you could drill through the gold with a scanning electron microscope and connect the different layers like you're sewing a damn quilt. This is an old-fashioned ENIAC, but with aluminum and plastic, dinosaur blood, refined. So now you're eating apples out there. And she says, well, this is all fake. This she never said. This is Jeanette. Jeanette goes out there, she blows a spiff, she sparks a doobie, she eats an apple, she pees on the fence, finds electricity, swears to God she'll never do that again. She finds Jesus, goes in, believes in Roman God, Zeus, and then says, hey Zeus, I'm sorry I peed on your fence. I guess I'll just cheat my way through the next couple cards. So she takes out the cards she didn't do. She spits apple, whatever, dust, some tobacco, paper and shit, all spit it onto the card. She smooths it out like this. And she goes, okay, none of the other girls are back from their cigarette break because they're not as fast as I am. I'm going to pull this shit out of my skirt, lay it down flat on the machine, and whatever the next program comes out, I'll just copy it onto this. Then she goes ahead of the line. She steals a bunch of cards and restacks them in her stack. The person who got the cards on the end of the ENIAC never got that instruction, and it got repeated in the beginning. And because it's an old-fashioned wood machine, it just went into the a la Lumafate Wanted with Angelina Jolie. So now we skip ahead till she made her own hanging chads so she could cut, because she's so talented at reading the lines of code. She's stoned, and she just ate an apple. So she's got the seed in her mouth, and she's so, that one I better just let hang. So there's some doubt about who's the next president. Then she says, maybe in a million years, this will mean something. Turns out it was only about 70 years, 72 or 77. Yeah, 72. I was born in 72. Shush. All right. Now, we have the public storage, Nikes, Faded Glory, Cousins. List goes on and on. Rumble in the Jungle. Everything happened in 72. But I happened in 71. So the tax laws changed. So I went into business in 72. So did a lot of other things. Basically, you can vary the thickness of the plexiglass, put gold, whatever in there, samarium, you can put all kinds of shit in there. Put the whole damn thing, you could, then you rim it with a particle accelerator that's tiny. It's basically like the vein in your blood. So you have a particle accelerator that you can see, and one that is bigger that's on the inside that goes the other way, around this way. It's still flat. Victorian age flatlanders, a square and a circle on the same plane cannot see each other until they move up and down parallel to each other, and they still can't tell if they're a square or circle. Basically, this is still capable for Leonardo da Vinci to have invented. Now, say he went to China and he saw, instead of the arm that he made, that tick, 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 tick away with cogs and wheels made out of wood, but it would still move until the water was gone out of the clay pots, or the wick was burning, and the steam engine, anything that he was driving it. But it was made of wood and crappy shit from Italy. So he went to the Orient. He met Genghis Khan, a relative of his, and he showed him the terracotta warriors. And he said, hey, I'll paint every single woman in your camp and every single guy, and you can base the terracotta warriors off my drawings if you make me something that you're going to coat with that Egyptian purple or Chinese blue. It's been shown today's modern man, in whatever branch of the service they're in, figured out 45 Teslas is the highest strength magnet we got. You put ancient from terracotta warriors, it fades away as soon as the oxygen and atmosphere gets to it, but they found trace amounts in Egypt too, in tombs, thanks to Tutankhamun. So now we have rising sun, vertical amber, snake bird, that's King Cheops Kufu. So we have a substance that existed back then twice in two different forms, that in 45 Teslas of magnetism gets split atom by atom into two separate realms, two flat dimensions, based on the parallel alignment of the atoms of the substance they're split in. So now you have this still capable aluminum disc. It's an integrated binary circuit with glass instead of plexiglass. No integrated circuits of modern age, but we could still make this work today. So he says, make me the finest porcelain a la Benjamin Franklin and a glass harmonica. Make something that when I squeaky it, I can tell exactly what part I'm touching, what area I'm touching, how fast it's going, and how fast my fingers are going too. And then, if you give me one of those swords, I'll paint you what I want you to make me. So then he goes to the Emperor of Japan. He says, here's this sword from China, and here's what they can do. Can you do any better? Arigato gozaimasu konbanwa. And then you say, hey, thank you. Now I have your porcelain in the image of my robot, my body, my statue, David, and I'm going to take it home and sculpt a solid figure of it, but with different proportions so no one knows how it works. So basically, David, the statue, was actually, I got proof of this, but I had to come up with this stuff on my own by research. David originally was a Chinese porcelain statue based on a Japanese design of a water clock that Leonardo da Vinci gave to Japan in return for some elemental Chinese blue, which he figured out later on due to some rituals that were written down, copied by a British guy Most of them were sanded off when he found them. He gave them to the crown as proof that in ancient Egypt, because it was capped in gold and silver, and they had big, giant haggis. What is it? Haggis. Sheep's stomach. Stuffed with meat and barley. Some of it was lemon juice, and it would shock the shit out of the kids carrying it up to offering. These later became the tarot cards that we know today as playing cards, but they were originally some British guy, really old. He wasn't let back into Britain until he handed over all of the transcriptions that he made from the ancient pyramids. A lot of them he sanded off himself and found out some ancient powers along the way. This is what Illuminati was searching for a long time ago. It's called the Ark of the Covenant, and it's inscribed all over the place in secret places in Britain, in throne rooms, and out in the open where everyone can see it. Just if you know how to read. So basically, he was killed, and they didn't let him back into Britain. So now, electricity can go through your hands if you stroke wool, natural fiber, muscular fiber. Muscular fiber is said to be the hood that Jesus wore, Jesus. Even priests of the day, they wore the finest musculature silk hoods, and they were unstainable by any human means at the time. Actually, the Catholic Church came out recently with the hood that's supposed to be the hood of Jesus. Jesus would have worn one that didn't have any land fibers in it, and it has an image on it like the Shroud of Turin. Excuse me, that means it has... He was rich. He had rich friends. He would have had the world's finest hood. How could it be stained? So that's the second thing they lie about. Anyway, trust the state, not the church. Big Brother is not so big. It's tiny, like me. So basically, once you get the world's finest stack of about a foot, maybe 6 feet, 8 feet, something a guy can carry, or a woman, so 5 feet to 8 feet long tube of everything you could possibly do, like a forever drive that they got on the International Space Station. This is my version of it. It took a long time. My whole life. 44 years since something I thought was God told me to stop drawing penises on my chalkboard. So basically, now you have this stack, and it's like an ENIAC combined with the world's finest integrated circuits on the smallest molecular level that we can print them on. But then we can drill into it atom by atom and connect them all. And if it's made out of plexiglass and not glass, we could, every time we take out a chunk of Antarctic ice, we could have the damn stack scan it, and the stack would go back into where we took the ice out of, and then Earth would have its own computer based on what was taken out of the Earth, stored in ice, as a record of us at the time we took the damn thing out, and it would continually update itself, and it would basically provide us eternal Earth civilization level from 0 to 1. Every time we put another stack in there, we get one step closer to civilization step 1. Eventually, it'll think it's God, because we will think it's God, So we're going to have to be careful and publicize every detail about it. One human has so far walked all the way across Antarctica. How do you know things aren't already there that the Navy put there, or SEAL Team Zero Heroes put there? So basically, it's Mark 2023. We have that stack that suddenly becomes its own thinking computer without our help.